Hi guys, and welcome to the webinar. Today we're going to be running through the perfect project management. My name is Jake Rankin, a sales engineer here at Intreface, and here with me also is Andrew Naylor, our support manager.
Hi guys, if you've got any questions throughout the webinar, just put them in the box provided and we'll have a Q&A session at the end of each section.
Okay, so we are the top partner for Bitrix. That's in terms of the number of projects that we do deliver for them. That is determined because of one thing, that we are the sole developers and we just focus on the sole use of Bitrix, so we don't develop any other software or sell any other software. That means that we're just the sort of professionals, if you will, of Bitrix. So we're located now in Sheffield, New York, and also in Dubai. We can offer you pre-sales services. We can scope out your requirements, implement you with a full system, train you on that system, and then offer you ongoing training and support. So we always have the structure to offer you a workable solution for your business. So just what is Bitrix24? So it does now have an excess of 35 tools. This is to assist your business functions. Also now with over 2 million businesses which are registered worldwide. We can offer cloud versions at a monthly subscription and also self-hosted versions for a one-off sort of yearly fee. So why would you use Bitrix for the project management? Now, Bitrix does include a lot of different features, as we said earlier, mainly work groups for projects, which include document drives, calendars and tasks with other modules also included. It also includes an extranet portal, so you can invite your clients into the group and also then collaborate with them on tasks and certain sort of ideas you may have. It also has the ability to report on the data in a number of ways. We're going to show you all of this later on in the webinar. And also a significant amount of automation within the system, which is assisting us along the way, which makes sort of transitioning between the modules very sort of easy and efficient. So what we're going to sort of look at today is, first things first, is going to be a case study. So if you've seen our CRM webinar, at the back end of the CRM webinar, we won a deal and created a project. What we're going to show you today in Bitrix is how to execute the project, how to create it within the activity stream. Initially, we're going to show you how you can collaborate with the external portal, and then we're going to show you how we can report on different stages of these projects along the way. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is find our contact within the CRM. So just jump into the CRM and into the contacts tab. What we need to do is, from this contact, is create an external user from the contact. So into the contacts, into Tara Green on the left. If we click on the three lines, we can see business processes, and we can actually see make live user, as you can see there. This would then send an email message, an automatic email message to the user with a welcome email, which would on there have an email and password inviting them into the site. So that's done by a business process. We wouldn't have to do anything. Send the emails for us and invite that user, Tara Green, automatically. Next, what we need to do is obviously create a project for Tara Green to be invited into. So if we go into our activity stream, just under the more and under workflows, we have a new project business process which we've set up for you. So into workflows, just into new project, and the new project form will pop up. So let's just fill out this form very quickly. And select a manager, select a designer, and select a deadline. We can have a description letting everyone know what sort of project we're working with. We can select a file to pull over into the drive, and we can select a project type just quickly. So we'll send that request across. So it's a standard process within Bitrix. We can work through the form, and also as well we can customize the form. So we built this for the project. The fields can all be changed in order to gather the information that you may need to see as a business. So as you can see, the request is at the top of our activity stream. We can start the request and we can then accept the request on there. That request would have obviously moved down the activity stream. So if we just go into the workflows on the left and just into the workflow tasks, it would house all of the requests that we have needed to submit in here. So instead of working through the ones that would drop through the activity stream and obviously move off in time, we get a long list of all the requests that are housed in the system here. Obviously, we've got some filters at the top, so we can filter just the project approvals, just the leave approvals, just case approvals, and whichever sort of project managers will deal with what case as such can be filtered at the top of the page. Now, as soon as we submitted the form, we received a notification, and that will tell us to go into the project, as you can see, which will take us straight into that new project, which will let us know the project's live. We've created an external user and the project, so now the only thing left to do is to actually invite them into this group. So if we go into the actions on the right hand side and just go into the invite user, won't be a second, invite to group, invite external user who's already registered, and as you can see we have Tara Green in the post there, and we'll just send the invitation across to Tara. So it's quite a short process which would have been done manually, but by using this business process, it obviously adds structure to the way that we set them up. So always the right people are being added into the group, the right tasks, and the right sort of workload is being delegated to the staff every single time. So we're getting sort of a level of service that we'll be delivering to our customers. Okay.
Okay. So that's how we have created the project work group. We've got some questions. So we just got a question about the sound. Yeah, the sound's on. Yeah. We've got a question how we can create the form. We're going to show you how we're going to create the form in a moment. We're going to show you the workflow that runs behind the actual project form. And then that's it. So if you've got any questions, put them in the box provided and we'll be able to answer them. So like I mentioned, now we've seen the video how we create the project. Now we're going to show you in Bitrix the business process that runs behind it. So we're going to take a look at how we create the new project workflow. So we just need to click into workflows on the left hand side here, and then click into workflows in Activity Stream. So the workflows is a custom workflow that we've created on our demonstration site, and we just need to go to new project here. So first of all, we'll have a look at how we call the workflow new project and how we can assign permissions on it. So if we go to actions and then change workflow preferences, so when you're setting up the new workflow, it will ask you for these field names. So as it's called new project, we can give it a description. We can sort it, so that'll show you where it appears in the list of workflows. And then if we click on access here, we can restrict access to any given employee or user on the system. So for example, in this case, new project, you may only want to restrict access to the project managers, for example, so that they can create the projects. In this case, we have all employees, but it's simply just clicking on add. You can add a user group, you can provide access to a particular user, or you can provide access to whole departments within your company. So like I say, in this case, we've got it set to all employees. So let's click on save. So secondly, once you've set your permissions and given your workflow a name, you're going to need to create the actual form that goes behind that you fill in and it gets submitted to the workflow. So let's click on customize fields here, and you can see here that we've got 7 form fields from the project name through to assigning the manager and designer to this particular project. We've got a date field, and we've got a file, a list, and a text field as well. So if you want to add a new field, you simply click on add field here, and then you can see we can give the field a name, whether it's required or not, and whether you want to show it in the actual form itself, or you want to use this field as a hidden form element. So sometimes we can set the hidden field element to something like approve or reject, and then we can give that a status in the actual workflow that's running behind it. So there are quite a lot of different types of fields you can have. You can see them all in here. There's ranging from link to employee to the standard list, file. So the file in our case in this particular workflow is for submitting a file and attaching it to the workgroup drive. So there are quite a lot of different fields. I'm sure there's a field to match anything that you require in your particular form. But I'm not going to add any fields in this case into this particular form. We have all the fields that we require here. And now that we know how to create the form that users need to fill in, we can take a look at the workflow behind it. So if we click on Configure Workflows here, and then you can see here that we've got the new project workflow. You just need to make sure when you're setting up this particular workflow, so this is a sequential business process, when you click on Template Parameters, that this box is checked here, so when added. Basically, all that will mean is that once you submit the form, then this business process will trigger. So you can see here that once the form is submitted, it starts at this start point here and then moves down to the first action block. So in this case, once the project form was submitted, it creates an approval action for a member of the team to approve this project creation. So let's just click into here and take a look at how this works. So you can see here we've got a title, approved project of the action block, and then we have this field here, approving voters. So in this case, you can see we have a field that's already populated in this particular field. And this one's called a project manager. So how do we get that in there? So let's delete that from there and then click on the three dots to the right. And what we can do here is we can select any user that's on the system. So if you have a static person that should always confirm the new projects, then you can select them from your user list. But in our case, what we want to do is we want to have the person who's the project manager, the person who is selected in the actual form itself. If we click on element fields, you can see here that we have access to that particular form field, so the manager. If the field type, is a link to employee, then it will appear in this element field for the approving voters. So you can see here, project manager. So what happens when the approval comes to the project manager is that they will see the title, the name of the assignment, so approved project, and then again what we've done is click the three dots and pulled it in the project name from the form field that is submitted, and then we've give the assignment a description. So this is what the user who needs to approve the project sees. So you can put as much information in here or as little information, and you can pull as many fields from the form that is submitted into there. You can rename the button, so you could say approve project. You could also say refuse project. And then if you want to give reasons for maybe why the project gets refused, you can show the comment input field. You don't have to. You can set it so it's not mandatory to fill in. But what you can do there is if it does get rejected, then you can pull those comment fields into maybe a notification to the person who has submitted the project. So let's leave it at how it is at the moment. And then we can see here, once the project has been, say for example, in this case, it's been rejected, we can send the user a notification. So if we click into here, we can see this should be, if we can click on recipient and click on the three little lines. Again, if we click on element fields, what we want is actually the created by. So what created by means is the person who has submitted the form. So if we click created by here and click on insert, then we can say and we can say send to the team. And let's copy that and put it in there too. So let's click on save. So we've updated that rejection notification. And what happens here on the left-hand side is if the project gets approved, we have an action block that is solely for the self-hosted in this case, for creating the project workgroup. Now I say it's solely, the PHP action block is solely for the on-premise version. The only reason that we've used this action block in this particular process on our on-premise version is that we wanted to create an extranet workgroup. So we have the flexibility to be able to create extranet workgroups within the on-premise. If you did want to just create a static standard workgroup, then you can see here that we have this action block under other called create new workgroup. And it's as simple as dragging and dropping, clicking on the cog icon, and then filling in all the necessary information. So now that we've created a work group, we can send a message to all the project members. So that would be in our case when we fill in the form, we have the project manager and the designer. They would get notified that a new project's been created. We've added those members to the work group. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we have a form field in the file type. What that allows us to do, it allows us to submit a file to this particular work group here. And then we have a set of predefined tasks. So we've got a scoping task, a design task, and a development task. And that's a really good thing with business processes running behind the new project submission form, is that it gives us a structure to the particular project. So we can set as many tasks as we want. We can specify, for example, when we specified the designer in the form, they could be the responsible person for the design task. And then again, if we have a developer in the form, if that was the case, we could specify the developer to have the development tasks. And you can create as many tasks as you want. You can bring in other actions. Say, for example, what we wanted to do was create a calendar event. Again, it's just clicking, finding the action block on the right-hand side that you want, and then dragging, dropping, clicking on the cog icon, and then you can fill in all the necessary information. So it may be that on new projects, what this workflow is for, is that you have a kickoff meeting to discuss this project. In this case, you would have a calendar event, call it kickoff meeting, and maybe specify a date, either a static date that's in this process, or you may want to put a date field in your actual form element of this particular workflow. So you can do pretty much anything you want. The final thing that we do is we submit a welcome message to the project work group. And what that allows us to do is it will welcome all the members and any members that get added at a later date. So say, for example, when we invite our extranet user in to this particular work group, they will automatically see that welcome message when they arrive in the work group.
So yeah, we've got a couple of questions from that particular business process. So I've got a question, where do I go to download the business process? Well, as we mentioned, the actual process that we're showing you today is just a custom one that we've built for this demonstration. Everything you do see, we do have another point about the cloud and the self-hosted, because somebody's noticed that we're on the self-hosted. Everything that you do see today is available to build on the cloud and also on the self-hosted as well, just with that point just about creating the extranet user, the extranet work group, just basically being that focused on the self-hosted. We've got a question that came back a little bit ago just about how is the extranet user created if I'm using the cloud. So yeah, so when Jake ran through that, he converted the CRM contact into a extranet user. That was done by a process that's is just based on the self-hosted. However, you can still straightforward to create an extranet user on the cloud. You just have to do it just the manual way of inviting them in, and you can do that, as Jake showed you as well, through when you click on invite to group. instead of finding the user that already exists on your system as an extranet user, you can actually just send an invite straight from there as well. So keep the questions coming. If you've got any more, just put them in the box.
So we've just created quite a fairly simple process. That will be the first section of the webinar, just about complete. I'm going to move on now to just some workgroup features.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to find the workgroup that we have just created, which is the project webinar. So if we just go into the workgroups along the left, let's have a look. Project webinar, there we are. So as soon as we jump into the project webinar, on the right hand side, we can see we've got the member, the moderator, and the owner of the group. All have separate permissions attached to them, so the owner and the moderator are allowed to, say, add new tasks, whereas the members of the group aren't. Gives you a bit of control for your project managers. Also as well, straight away in the center, we can see the main page. We're just going to take you through some of the tabs first of all. So if we just look into the document drive, we can see the document we've loaded into the form has been pulled over successfully. Into the tasks tab, we can see it has already added some tasks for us automatically, so we haven't had to do that manually and add those tasks in there. Just going to now jump into a workgroup that has a little bit more information in there. It's a little bit more pre-populated for you. So into the center, you can see the main page does have all of the relevant information regarding to the project. Very similar to the activity stream, you can like and add comment to each other's posts within the project as well. Or you can create a discussion or a forum so people can add comments to an idea and businesses can get relevant feedback from its employees and also its customers, as you can invite your customers into the external portal. So just take you through some of the features within this workgroup. So a workgroup has a drive or a personal space for documents. This is to share to the actual workgroup. If we go into the drive, we can see a few folders set up, and if we just jump into the folder, we have a few documents ready here. Now, you can manage who it's going to be shared with, either an individual or a group. A user can also have access to either view the documents, or permission can be added to open it up so others can in fact change the documents. So if you just go into the document and go into the revision history, this is where your project manager can have a certain sort of level of permission over that. So here you can see who's made the change to the document. If you've got sort of multiple collaborations, you see when the change was made. If you need to adapt a change, all you have to do is click into the 3 lines and you can click restore. So if you're not happy with the change, you can then take this sort of a step further. So if we go into the business processes, what we can do in here, we can set it up so a change wouldn't actually be published into the workgroup or into the workgroup's drive until someone like a project manager has approved the change. So they would try and make the change, that will be sent for approval. Once it's approved, it will be then published into the drive. Moving on, we can, inside the calendar tab, so we've looked at tasks already, but we'll come to that in a little bit more detail when we come into the reporting features. Into the calendar though, here we can integrate with other calendars, so that can be Android, mobile, and Google and Outlook calendars. We can create new events, and we can all have our calendars on here, so then we can see who's available on what sort of dates for meetings to get the sort of project moving, to get the workload progressing. There is also a photo section underneath a workgroup. Very similar to the document drive, you can choose who it's shared with, either certain individuals, so only a certain person can view them. You can lock them down as well, so only a certain group can be able to view the documents. Inside list feature, we can create a list within a work group. Now, an example would be a project or work group may need, say, a list of expenses. You can then trigger a business process from the back of this and say if the expenses need authorizing before the payment's made, this can be then done through an automated business process. Now, you can invite extranet users to a certain project, as you may need an outsourced contractor within this group or say a customer. So for example, we invited Tara into this work group, so that will be our customer. We're going to collaborate with this customer, say we're website builders, we want to get some form of comment back from that. So just going to jump into the tasks that we've invited in. We invited Tara into this project 2017. We're just going to jump into the eShop designs and just going to view the task first of all. We're then going to, when the task loads, we're going to scroll down to the comment section at the bottom. into the comment section at the bottom. We'll add a comment for Tara, so we'll say at Tara. Oh, just 2 seconds. And we'll just add a photo in there, sort of look. Into the project management, we'll send her this this picture here, see if she's happy with the design we've made for her. We'll send that comment across. So what we're going to do anyway now is we're going to jump into the extranet site and give you a view and give you a look of how the extranet seems on logging in as a customer. So it won't be a second. So now we're into the extranet. As you can see in the top right, we're logged in as Tara Green. The extranet can also be hosted on any domain and separate to the main site with its own login page. So if you want sort of a login page for your staff, login page for your customers, all looking different, you can do that. You can also give everyone the same link. So if an extranet user tries to log in into the main site, it will recognize that they're an extranet user and redirect them to this site. So as you can see, it does look quite similar to the main site, but it can all be changed. So again, if you want a different sort of view for your customers to your employees, you can do so. Here at the top, you can see the bars and the customizations can be done to change the colors and the branding. Also as well, along this right-hand side, the custom widgets are on here. We can create widgets on here which you can populate for your customers, so they can be customized to include, say, a video or a quiz if you are needing on there. There are less features along the left-hand side, and the extranet user has access to less than the main site, so there's no CRM along that left-hand side, as you can see. To work through some of these features along the left, first of all, we're going to jump into the support feature. So the support feature has all the tickets that we have submitted. So this might be a problem we've had with a product or a service, or just needing an update, we can submit through a ticket. This is also as well, we can modify previous tickets, we can create a new ticket, and once we've submitted a ticket as well, we will receive an automatic email response, so we're not just left assuming if the ticket's been submitted or not. Into the e-store, this is where we can sell products to partners, to customers. Say if they have sort of recurring orders, we can set this up inside here. Also within an organisation, it can be used to, say, order stationery and supplies if you are needing to. Within the work groups, if we just jump into the work group that we created earlier and the one that we invited her into, jump into the project 2017, this is where we have more features as they are now actually part of this specific work group. So now we've got obviously the drive, the tasks and the calendars, so we can see everyone's sort of availability. Jumping under the actual drive, jumping into the tasks, I just want to show you the comment that we added earlier. We can add some collaboration back. So as you can see along the right hand side, we received a notification letting us know we've got a comment on one of the tasks, which I'll just show you. As you can see, and we've got our invitations into the new projects. This is the more populated project, but we've got the invitation into the project webinar, as you can see as well. So it's going to jump into the eShot designs where we added the comment, and we're going to scroll down, and we're just going to add a comment back, which we'll be able to see then in the main site when we do jump back in. So we can view this photo. We can see, yeah, we're quite happy with that design on there. We can add a comment back to John. So tag John again. I'll send that back to John. So just cross this task off. We're just going to move on to the next feature on the left. So once we've obviously had some collaboration, we have a contact set up within the work group. This would normally be the project manager, the account manager, our point of contact to the company. So we can either send a message back to this client and just say, I'll just send one quickly. And we can send a message about the task which he will receive in a second. So we'll jump back in a minute and show you the message being received and he can comment on the task as well. Just under the contacts tab, so this is where we can, so we send a message, we can either have a video call, as you can clearly see, and we have all the relevant contact information, so we can contact the business very, very easily. Just a side note is that there's no extra charge for your extranet users, and you can also have an unlimited number of these external users within the site as well. Now, what we are going to look into is how we can report on some projects in various ways. So just to jump back into the main part of the site and just jump into the activity stream quickly. We're going to first of all jump into tasks. And just in the project 2017, we've got the eShop designs. And under the comments, we will clearly see that they're happy with the design, and we'll see the comment back that Tara submitted. So we can see the comment back from Tara. Also along the right hand side, we've got the message from Tara, the open chat message, so we can send a message back to her. And just jump back into Tara's profile. Along the right hand side, we can see the message back from John. So it's very, very responsive, as you can clearly see. So just back into the main site, into John's profile, just going to take you through some reporting features within tasks. So into tasks, you can clearly see, first of all, the tasks assigned to various projects. So project 2017, information technology project, and the tasks sitting underneath them. In red, we can see which tasks are overdue and who is responsible for those tasks. We can even add filters at the top to show just a certain group if that's what we're going to work on today. We need different views. Into the planner view, we can clearly plan out our tasks throughout a day. So we can set these different tabs up, sit the tasks under different tabs and plan these tasks out. So say we need to start doing this one next week, we can move the task along, which will move the stage along. In the Kanban view, it gives us a nice graphical representation of the tasks and what stage they're sitting under. So are they actually in progress? Have we finished them? Have they not started work on them yet? So they're just a new task. Into some other views, we can go into the Gantt chart view. This allows us a more graphical representation of the tasks and the progress of their tasks. So here you can see we progress with the task until we got held up for a couple of months, and then it progressed on nicely till the finish. These tasks are currently overdue, so we need to get starting work on those. And as you can see what sort of stage tasks are sitting at in the one nice graphical view. Into availability rather in the top, this would help us with assigning tasks to different users. Here we can clearly see who's dealing with what task. So we can see at the minute we've got John who's dealing with tasks, we've got another John, we've got Jim, we've got Mark. So at the minute we'd say John Quinn hasn't actually got a task, so we would delegate him a task. Helps us without sort of dividing up the workload there very easily. So we wouldn't give a task to obviously John Smith, to John Quinn we would, also to Claire Smith and to Mary Jones. So it helps the project managers with sorting out the workload there.
Okay. So we've got a few questions that have come through. Connection users access the portal on a mobile. On a mobile, yes, certainly. So Bitrix has a mobile application. So yeah, if like Jake mentioned, that if they were to log in to the normal system, but they are classified as an extranet user, they will be directed to the relevant section. Can we make group calls? Yeah, certainly. So we'll just quickly show you. Just quickly show you on here. So if we go into this conversation, we can invite more and more people in. So we can invite users to chat, and we can invite people to have a group video call. Just point to note on that is that you can only have 4 people on the video calls, but you can have unlimited on the instant messenger. So if you wanted to invite more and more people into the instant messenger, you can do that, no problem. Are users notified by emails? Yeah, they certainly are. So more or less all the tasks that you're involved in, you will get notified by emails. Usually in the training that we provide, we do tell you to customize your own notifications, because you can imagine if you're involved in a lot of tasks, you may not want to get notified by email on every particular action that takes part in a task. I've just got a question about the documents and what restrictions do you have. Well, Bitrix has a really strong permission structure and especially in the document side of things. So you can give a drive a default permission structure in a work group, and then you can specify additional permissions on individual files and folders as well. So you may want for example, a folder in your document drive in a work group just for you and the project manager. You can restrict that just for your view, and then all the other people will not be able to see it and be able to see just the files and folders that they've got permissions to. Got a question with regards to exporting the Gantt chart. That's not actually possible at the moment. I think you referred to exporting as a PDF. We have actually done a customization for a client before with the Gantt chart and the ability to export it to PDF. However, that would only be possible on the self-hosted. It wouldn't be possible on the cloud. Can users add time to tasks? Yep, you can. So you can, as long as you've got time tracking available on a particular task, then they will be able to add time on it too. So yeah. Okay, so that's the questions for now.
Okay, so we've covered quite a lot today in today's webinar. In summary, we've created a process to generate a project group where we were able to collaborate and report on the features inside of there with different views, like the Gantt chart views Andy just said there earlier. There are a lot of benefits to having a self-hosted system in-house. So main benefits of the self-hosted is the ability to brand your portal area, which means a different portal area to your customers. So your customers and your staff could have different portals, completely different looks to them, and also different sites once they've logged in. You can also have advanced automation within the portal area as well, from processing the client to the portal, and once they're actually in the portal as well, with dealing with sort of the tasks and the workload. And you can also customize this ability. So if you're not happy with the sort of standard workflows that Bitrix comes with, you can adapt and you can customize these, as Andy showed you earlier in the demonstration. So coming soon, we're going to be running through a CRM demonstration in a bit more detail. We've got some more HR toolkits along the way. We've got the business processes webinar as well, and obviously the self-hosted advantages is coming along fairly soon. So we're here at the same time every week, showcasing Bitrix. If you do have any questions, I think one question may have just popped through quickly. I think he's just asking for a recording. So yeah, we will be sending out a link, I believe, to the recording of this webinar today, which you'll be able to find. Any other questions or any sort of feedback or anything, send over to jake@intreface.com. We'll get back to those queries straight away.
Yeah, if you've got any questions in the meantime, we'll hang around for the next 5-10 minutes. Maybe you've got a custom question for your own requirements. We're more than happy to help. Like I say, we'll stick around for the next 5-10 minutes. But thank you for watching.
Thank you.